In November 2007, 4 teachers were given the opportunity of a lifetime.
Absolutely incredible.
A chance to spend a month in Antarctica.
You get up out of your tent in the morning and you've just got this amazing view, beautiful sunshine, mountain range in the background, pretty much white for as far as you can see.
They explored the science.
It's one of the first ever lichens collected at the Henderson Glacier.
And discovered themselves.
At the moment, I'm sort of a bit fed up. There are several things about life in Antarctica which really get on your nerves.
While at home, their students experienced it with them.
I've got a class full of children here. All right. They're dying to speak to you.
This is the story of how they got there and what they brought back for the benefit of themselves and their students. At the beginning of 2006, the Fuchs Foundation, in memory of Sir Vivian Fuchs, the first successful explorer to cross the Antarctic, chose 4 geography and science teachers out of hundreds of candidates to explore the region for themselves.
If you inspire your teachers, which is a very good thing, they inspire their students and everyone around them sees the benefit.
It has taken over a year and a half for each of them to raise over £10,000 in funding for the trip and to prepare themselves for the harsh conditions of Antarctica.
One of my biggest worries was that I'd be falling down a crevasse and I wouldn't be able to get out.
But the trip has a purpose. Each teacher has to undertake a science project which he or she has to conduct in Antarctica and to inspire children back in Britain while they're away and when they return. An acclimatization trip to Norway 2 months before the expedition tested these projects while they camped on a glacier.
We need them to get the science across and deliver it, which they can do in the field.
Then the Lucky 4 were flown to Patriot Hills, a base camp in Antarctica, a multinational community 600 miles from the South Pole. It was here they began their 4-week adventure at the bottom of the world.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. Just stepping off the plane, see the mountains behind, and then just that way, just space. It's just absolutely amazing.
Amy Rogers is a secondary school biology teacher from Nuneaton.
I've got a science research background. I did a PhD in zoology, and the reason that I came into teaching was to try and communicate science to pupils and to try and get them more excited about it. And so I thought this opportunity to bring science into the classroom and to be able to communicate science in a fun way is something that really attracted me to the project, and I really wanted to get involved in it.
Ice is freezing to them, look at it.
Their accommodation on the trip is far from luxurious.
Double pole both of those.
Amy's tent partner is Ruth Hollinger.
We're going to use our map skills that we have been working on.
Ruth, from Northern Ireland, is a secondary geography teacher based in Sheffield.
I suppose I like sort of things that are a challenge, and certainly there was, I suppose, 2 challenges. There was the challenges of raising the £10,000 to go on the expedition. So there's quite a lot of preparation and fundraising in advance and a lot of training. And then, you know, there's a challenge of actually going and surviving on the ice in Antarctica. So I suppose there's sort of the double appeal of that, really. 9:20 on a Saturday evening. What would you normally be doing at 9:20 on a Saturday evening?
I wouldn't be shoveling snow.
2 hours after arriving, the tents are pitched, and the team are part of the community of Patriot Hills, where they will be staying for a week, acclimatizing and beginning their science projects.
So yeah, it's up, and it's looking quite cosy actually. Quite looking forward to getting in there now.
But the following day, and Antarctica seems a very different place.
We've clocked winds at about 75 kilometres an hour, so we're just really making everything bomb-proof, really. We're talking 5-6 years they're going to be paying taxes.
Phil is a 28-year-old geography teacher from Surrey.
Because it's something that you can hardly imagine, to read it from a textbook doesn't work. To look at pictures on their own doesn't work. How can you talk about the scale of the place, what the weather feels like from a picture? And that if the teacher is trying to teach from that picture or from that textbook, they can't bring that across. So the only way to really get kids fired up about an incredible area for geography, an incredible place to do science, is to go there and come back with the story.
With the bad weather now past and the team settled into their new home, it's time to venture out of the camp for the purposes of study.
I say it's a novel experience for me, being a non-skier, so really looking forward to it.
Ian Richardson is 50 and the oldest member of the team.
There's supposed to be a gene on the Y chromosome that gives you hairy ears.
He teaches biology in Hertfordshire.
Only one X chromosome. Antarctica is an area that's always fascinated me. Extreme environments with the effect of global changes and the impact that they're having, and the way that so many of them are visible in Antarctica, and it's such a sort of barometer for what's going on the rest of the planet. And I really wanted to take the opportunity to go if I could.
Ruth and Phil, what we're aiming for is that toe of that buttress over
Looking
there.
after the 4 teachers throughout the expedition is Carolyn Bailey and her assistant Carl Alvey.
Rescheduled to the 22nd.
Meanwhile, back in Britain, expedition manager Steve Bull is monitoring the situation overall.
Because of the size of the expedition and what we want to achieve out of it, someone needs to be back here as like a point of contact. So if they've got a decision to make, they'll contact me over the sat phone. It's also there in terms of the emergency point of contact that we're here 24 hours a day, phone, or if we're out and about, mobile.
Also keeping a close eye on the trip is Peter Fuchs, the son of Sir Vivian. He's eager that his father's sense of purpose is adhered to.
And it was always for the science. So he was a scientist first and an explorer second, and then the explorer because he was going to the unusual places to do his science.
Ian and his fellow biology teacher Amy are looking for lichens as part of their science projects. These are plant-like algae that grow on rocks. While Ian's project is concerned with the microscopic organisms that live within the lichens, Amy's project is looking for different varieties.
Because they're so tiny and because we're not very familiar with exactly what species we're going to find here, the problem we've got is identification. Different colours on the rocks, different minerals could be lichens. So we've collected a few samples that, because we've got a little bit of doubt, we're going to wait till we get back to camp and have a look at them. And I suspect over the next few weeks another problem's going to be just trying to get our eye in as to exactly what type of habitat you're likely to find them in.
And indeed throughout the first week, wherever they look in their travels around Patriot Hills, they become increasingly frustrated.
I mean, we got to practice with skis, pulling sledges, moving ourselves around safely, getting the camp up and down. But I started to have this horrible feeling that we weren't able to do any proper science that we'd gone out there to do. And I started to sort of twitch and think, am I going to spend the whole month just wandering from place to place, trying to find something?
Well, I suppose that's what this is all about. It's a big learning experience and just learning to get our eye in and whereabouts to look.
Ian and Amy aren't the only ones to find their project a struggle in the first week. Ruth's personal project is the study of a particular type of hole.
I'm looking for a thing called cryconite holes, which is essentially where you get rock blown onto the surface of the glacier. Because it's dark, it causes the ice around it to melt much more quickly. And the argument is as more rock becomes exposed, then the ice, you get this sort of feedback loop where the ice melts much more quickly. The problem in Antarctica is that they're, this time of the year, in November, they're completely frozen over. So from the surface it's quite difficult to tell whether it's just a big lump of rock or whether it's actually smaller fragments of rock, because I think the sort of smaller fragments of rock are of more interest to what I'm looking for.
The training expedition in Norway 2 months previously had given Ruth hope that her project would yield interesting results. But Antarctica shows signs of being less fruitful.
Those cryoconite holes, what you're looking for are snow-free areas. Now, because there's been a snowfall and there hasn't been much wind, there's a light sort of skimmed snow on top, so it makes the holes much harder to see. And then also just because the holes are frozen, you've got to do a lot of digging to get at them rather than just to take the water out. So it's much harder to actually get the cryoconite out of the holes.
You're going to GPS it as well?
Disappointed, she nevertheless records what she finds. The problems experienced by Ian, Amy and Ruth are having a bearing on the results of Phil's project.
Minus 12.4, 0.5 wind chill.
He is in Antarctica to study the relationship between weather and how people are feeling when considering such factors as diet and mental well-being. He gathers information from the others by way of a questionnaire they fill out daily.
It is a mood state questionnaire, and it goes through things like, did I enjoy today's meals? How depressed or happy am I? How lonely am I? How alert? How physically feeling 100%, etc. And then it tries to correlate all those facts and figures with what the temperature was today, what the wind chill was, how many hours sleep I've had, etc. And then we look for patterns.
As well as this psychological study, Phil is also studying the physiological effects of the cold on the human body.
Push on, a little bit more.
For this part of his project, the team underwent a rigorous physical examination at the University of Portsmouth 2 days before they left.
Keep driving, good.
The aim of the next couple of days is to find out what shape the team are in, and that could be in terms of fat, it could be in terms of fitness, in terms of their sensitivity to cold. And we're then going to repeat those tests when we come back and see how our bodies have changed.
There's 4 bars in there.
One thing that's affecting the team's physical well-being is the food. For ease of use, the bulk of it is freeze-dried.
We've just added water to the chicken korma and we've left it for 5 minutes, and this is the end result. So let's have a taste. Try not to spill it. Pretty good.
As well as a restricted diet, personal hygiene begins to suffer too.
So I got the tiniest amount of soap and just dabbed it on in the appropriate places, and it felt really good. And that was probably 3 days ago now, and could do with another one. I'm not taking my hat off because it's been 13 days since I've washed my hair, and it's not a pretty sight.
I mean, I'm really amazed and excited to be here, but there are aspects of it which are a bit grim. One of the most tedious is the need to melt snow to make water all the time, so the stoves are going an awful lot so that we can have enough to drink. But on the whole, it's all right. We're all getting on pretty well, and Carl and Carolyn are looking after us brilliantly.
As well as a hot meal, the evenings provide a chance to communicate via the teachers' blogs using a satellite phone and laptop. Their diaries are a vital way to keep their students interested and up to date with the expedition.
It's just quite a nice relaxing thing to do in the evening, actually, just write down what we're doing, and hopefully some kids out there will be reading it as well. And we've had quite a lot of questions and feedback, so I think people are, enjoying reading what we're doing, and lots of supportive messages from people who just saying, like, keep going. So yeah, it's good. It's going really well. It's nice to have that contact.